What's up, everybody? This is Vando at Deadlock School, and I've got a beginner's build guide for Abrams to share. I feel like Abrams is a really good hero for new players because he's super tanky and he can take a lot more punishment than the rest of the cast, which gives you more opportunity to practice brawling without getting one shot. It helps you get a little bit more experience in team fights. Just a good hero to kind of learn the game. I've personally used this build to climb from Arcanist to around mid-Archon. I think I'm Archon 3 right now. And I feel like it's a really powerful build for beginners and average level Deadlock players that want to see some success climbing ranks or just want to get more familiar with the mechanics of the game. Okay, so we'll start out by taking a look at the build. So the first thing you want to do is hit B to open up the browser. Make sure you're in the public tab here, and then you just want to go into the search bar and you can type out Vando. That's going to bring up the build. It's Vando Unkillable Demon King. You can type that in, or you can put in the build ID. It's 489402. I'll put that in the description there so you can come back to it later. And then before we open it up and take a look at the items, I just want to go through the ability points real quick. So you want to start out here with 1 point into Infernal Resilience. This is going to give you the most sustainability there in the lane. So that way, you can't really get poked out because you're just always regenning. Then you want to rush 2 points into your shoulder charge. So if you've been playing Abrams for a while, you know why to do this. But for anybody that's new, whenever you get 2 points into shoulder charge, that's going to give you an extra bit, like almost a half second of stun duration when you hit the wall. So that just lets you secure that heavy melee when you punch them into the wall. So that's a big part of Abrams, is making sure you get that heavy melee off. Okay, and then the next step is to put 1 point into your siphon. That's going to reduce the cooldown. 1 point into seismic impact, also going to reduce cooldown, and then your next 5 points are going to go into your shoulder charge, and that's going to reduce the cooldown by 18 seconds. So you can see the first couple points. The first step here, you're going to get your shoulder charge maxed so that you get your stun, and then you're going to reduce the cooldown of all your skills. That's going to make you more effective in your fights, just so that you are more able to use your abilities. That's where Abrams is going to get a lot of his damage. He's not really much of a gunfighter, so you want to make sure you're getting as much damage as you can out of your skills. Okay, and then the next step here is you want to max out your resilience. That's just going to make you very, very tanky and hard to kill. Then you want to put your next couple points into finishing up your siphon life. That lets you do more damage with siphon, which in turn lets you steal more life and just help you tank. And then you want to round it out by finishing up with your seismic impact. So you won't really typically get to 5 points in seismic impact in most of your games. It's going to be extreme late game territory. But if you get there, it's nice. The final upgrade there gives you unstoppable whenever you cast that. So if you seismic impact into a group, you're going to be unstoppable for a couple seconds unless you kind of throw some heavy melees out without getting parried. Okay, so now we are going to look at the actual items here. So when you open the build up, you'll see that there's a ton of items in here. So don't get overwhelmed. We're not going to be building all this stuff. This build is actually designed to be used with quick buy. So if you open up your quick buy menu, you can check these 2 boxes. So the first one's going to automatically queue the build up for you when you start a game. The second one is automatically going to buy items when you get close to the shop. So if you have enough souls, you don't even have to open the shop. It's just going to automatically build out everything that's in the core box for you. It basically just goes from left to right. So it's going to start out with regen and melee lifesteal. That's your first 1600 souls. That's going to give you a lot of sustainability while you're in the lane. It's going to combo with your Infernal Resilience. Just makes it very difficult to poke you out of the lane. Then you want to pivot into building out your Spirit Nuke. And this is going to help you one-shot somebody off of a shoulder tackle. So you're going to start out with Spirit Strike. That gives you 42 damage Spirit whenever you punch somebody. Then you got Cold Front's 100 damage Spirit Nuke on active cast. Get Torment Pulse. It's going to pulse for 32 spirit damage every couple seconds when you're close to somebody. And then you got Mystic Shot, which is going to add 80 spirit damage to your next gunshot. So once you get all these online, you're going to be about 8,800 souls. This will be maybe the middle or towards the end of your lane phase. This is where you have the most one-shot potential in the entire game and where you're the most dangerous. So what you can do at this point is you just shoulder tackle, turn on your siphon life, heavy melee, hit your active cold front there, and then take a shot, and your Mystic Shot's going to nuke. And then you just instantly delete somebody. Okay, so you can start roaming at this point. You're going to be able to kill lots of different people if you hit them with a shoulder charge and everything's on cooldown. Okay, so getting back into the rest of the build here, your next buy is going to be Life Strike. This is probably the single most important item for Abrams. This is going to let you steal much more life on a melee. So if you shoulder charge somebody, it's going to give you a huge heal off of that. You'll see that at the end of the game, most of the healing that you're going to do is going to come from Life Strike. Then you get your boots and your healing booster, and that's like the end of the first half of the build. So once you have all these items, 13k souls, you're pretty much online. You're going to be roaming. You're going to be looking to take the Guardians. Then you can pivot into a couple different build paths. Okay, so you can just let the build play out the way it is, and that's going to give you Crushing Fists, which is going to kind of help you stack up on your melee attack. So when you get that heavy charge off, this is going to max out your punch damage. It's also going to give you a chunk of bullet resist, which you're not going to get from much of the rest of the build. So it's a very good item. And then you're going to get Witch Mail. Witch Mail is a super good item on Abrams. This is going to give you a big chunk of spirit resist. It gives you a lot of life, being a 6400 green item. And then it's also going to help with cooldowns. So instead of buying superior cooldown, then you can just get Witch Mail instead. Every time you take a 75 damage spirit nuke, it's going to chunk 4 seconds off of a cooldown. And that's basically anytime somebody hits you with spirit damage, you're going to be able to take 4 seconds off the cooldown. This helps you stay in extended fights for a long period, get lots of shoulder charges off. I really like this item. All right, so after Witch Mail, if you want to just let the build keep playing itself out, it's going to buy Hunter's Aura. That's going to give you a little bit of bullet resist debuff, but more importantly, it's going to reduce the fire rate of surrounding enemies, which is going to help you tank. Then you can get Point Blank, which will give you a little bit higher damage on your punch, and it's going to help you slow people whenever you tackle them into the wall. And then last item here is going to be Weighted Shots. Weighted Shots gives you a little bit of damage, a good chunk of spirit resist, and a good chunk of debuff resist, which is also very useful on Abrams because you're going to be in the middle of the fight, you know, taking lots of debuffs, taking lots of damage. So that's the full build. If you just let it auto buy, you can see there are some items that you can still upgrade. If the game keeps going past this point, you can upgrade your punch to Spirit Snatch. You can get Arctic Blast to just kind of add on to the damage that you do whenever you pop your Cold Front. And Juggernaut, of course, is going to give you a little bit of more melee resist and slow resist, which is really strong on Abrams. And then it's also going to cut the fire rate. So between Juggernaut and Hunter's Aura, this is going to significantly reduce the fire rate of any incoming damage, any gun heroes. Very good counter to that. And then the last upgrade is Healing Tempo. I don't typically buy Healing Tempo on Abrams. I think this is more of an item for people that can heal, you know, other characters. But, you know, if you got the souls and you're looking for something to buy, you can upgrade, you know, that last item there. Okay, and then there are some quality of life items that you can build on Abrams. I have them on the bottom row here of the mid-game options here, down here at the bottom. These are kind of like training wheels items that make Abrams easier to play. So first of all, you can get expansion. That's going to help out with the range on your Siphon Life and on your Seismic Impact. So it just makes it easier to hit people. It's also going to increase the range on your Torment Pulse. So this is actually a pretty good buy on Abrams. I recommend that if you're, you know, having a little trouble with positioning. You can get Duration. That's going to make your stun last longer when you land a shoulder charge and when you land your Seismic Impact. It just makes it a little bit more forgiving to land that heavy melee, so that way you don't have to like be as tight with the combo. You can also get Superior Cooldown. Of course, that's going to do exactly what it says. It just reduces the cooldown on all your items there, or I'm sorry, on all your abilities, so that you have them, you know, more available when you're skirmishing. And then you also have some movement items here. You got Kinetic Dash. This is a super good item on Abrams. Whenever you do a dash jump, it's going to give you extra bullets in your clip, and it's going to increase your fire rate. Also, it just gives you 1 extra stamina point. So really good for any hero that has a small clip on their gun, especially heroes like Abrams. You got Fleetfoot. Fleetfoot's really good on Abrams because it lets you do something called heavy melee canceling. So I'll show you what this looks like. If you punch and then use Fleetfoot, it'll cancel the punch. So if somebody's trying to parry you a lot, you can use Fleetfoot, and that's going to kind of like let you play mind games with them by canceling out your melee. And then you can get Warpstone, just a good item on everybody. This build does not have particularly a lot of bullet resist, so Warpstone can help you kind of round out your bullet resist, help you get on top of somebody. Just once again, a good item for positioning. And then the last one here is Fortitude. Fortitude is going to make you move faster. It's going to give you a huge chunk of health, and it's going to let you heal whenever you're out of combat. So if you're kind of cycling in and out of combat, Fortitude is a really good item. So those are some good quality of life items that you can build on Abrams. All right, and then Abrams can also kind of specialize, like I said earlier, so you can kind of move into different build paths. And the build paths I like to do with Abrams, you can move into gun carry, you can move into spirit carry, you can move into frontline tank, and you can move into assassin. And that's why I have these additional kind of boxes here with the late game options, so that you can pick and choose how you want to kind of build Abrams out here. So if you want to build into spirit, you can go with like Mystic Slow, Greater Expansion, Spirit Burn, Boundless, and Echo Shard. So if I build these out, then what you can do at this point is you can hit your siphon, and then do your Echo Shard, and then you can siphon again. So that gives you 2 siphons to play with, and you'll see that the cooldowns come off kind of around the same time. If you don't want to do spirit, you know, you have some other options here. You can go into gun carry, so you can go hunters, point blank, weighted shots, intensifying, and healing tempo. And anytime you use your siphon, that's going to proc your healing tempo. So you're going to have, you know, really good fire rate whenever you do that. So you're really going to use your siphon as kind of like a trigger to start your healing tempo, so you can just gun somebody down. Then you also have the option to just build like complete frontline. So I'll just go ahead and finish my Witchmail. I'll pick up one of the bullet resilience items. So battle vest, bullet resilience, metal skin, whichever one you like there. I'll get Frenzy and Colossus. Okay, so now I'm 3,600 or 36,000 souls. It's kind of maxed out end game. So if you do this, you're going to have 30 resistance here on each one. You got resistance on demand if you use your Colossus. And then whenever you get below half health, it's going to trigger extra spirit resist and extra bullet resist. So you're just going to be virtually indestructible if you build this tanky build. This is going to get you. You can also add fortitude there just to cap off the life. That's going to give you a ton of hit points there. So this is a really good build if you want a frontline for everybody. And then the build, you'll see this one. This is one that a lot of people are using online right now. You go Phantom Strike and Echo Shard, and you put the Echo Shard on your charge. So what you do with this one is you're gonna Phantom Strike onto somebody, charge them, pop your Echo Shard, charge again, and that gives you 2 charges on somebody. And of course, you know, nobody's gonna live through 2 shoulder charge punches. That makes you a deadly assassin. It's really good against heroes like Vindicta, Grey Talon, any kind of hero that's going to give you a hard time flying around. Lash, Yumina, heroes that are hard to catch, that you know, have a lot of verticality there. Okay, and then finally you have your defense options. So these are all optional. These are going to be used if you're trying to counter a specific hero in your lane. So some of the cheaper options in lane, like if you're playing against Mo and Krill, you can buy Reactive Barrier. If you're playing against like Calico or Grey Talon, you can buy Spirit Shield, stuff like that. You know, Apollo, you get Slowing Hex. And then also you can buy these against the enemy carry. So if you're fighting against a super fed Haze or something like that, you can get Cursed Relic, you can get Knockdown, you can get Knockdown for 7. You can get Metal Skin if you're fighting against like, you know, a fed Drifter or any kind of carry like that. So these are all optional. I recommend that you don't buy more than 2 of these. It's just going to cut into your souls too much to buy more than 2. But this is a fairly flexible build. So like I said, once you get to healing booster, you're going to be pretty much maxed out. And then you can kind of, you know, decide how you want to fork. I recommend you probably pick up one of these items. So instead of just letting the build play all the way out, instead of like specializing super hardcore into one aspect or another, I would get at least 1 or 2 of these defensive options. Usually that's going to be bullet resilience, because this build does not have a lot of bullet resistance in it. So you can get bullet resilience or battle vest or metal skin. But I would definitely pick up at least 1 or 2 of these. You can never go wrong with like a Slowing Hex. That's just such a cheap and effective item that is just really, or Heal Bane. You know, these are, you know, items that are just good against a lot of different heroes. And Abrams is very flexible. It's easy to pick 1 or 2 of these and slot these into the build. Okay, so that's going to do it for the guide. Give it a shot. Try it out with auto buy for a couple of games. Then when you feel like you've got a handle on the power spikes, you can customize it to your liking just by changing the order around of the items in the core box. If you made it to the end here, then it helps me a lot for you to do all the YouTube things, you know, thumbs up, leave a comment, sub to the channel, things like that. Otherwise, I just want to say thanks for watching, and I'll be back soon with another beginner's guide.